increase the production value and the presentation for our audience.
Yeah, see how it goes. Got anything you want to talk about today?
Eventually we're gonna have to come prepared with actual topics to discuss.
I have topics. I always come with ideas to get things started off.
All right then, let's see what you got.
All right. Well, first off, I would like an update on your soccer exploits. Now, for the audience, Caleb's a little bit of a bad boy when it comes to soccer. Gets in a fight and possibly kicked out of a game once every 2 months or so, give or take. Hard to kind of keep up.
I mean, there's a lot of gray area in there in terms of fighting and or getting into fights and or kicked out of games.
I don't know if it's very gray at all. I think you absolutely get into fights and you absolutely get kicked out of the games.
But if you define a fight as like a punch thrown and like people like tussling, that's not what's happening.
Okay.
There's no typically there's no physical altercation outside of the initial whatever happens on the field knocks.
Well, that's
and then
most
there's
fights,
a lot
though.
of shit talking, yelling, and or the chest beating, if you will.
Okay. Yeah, that's most fights though, I think.
I guess you're right.
Most fights are over within 30 seconds of them starting.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, they don't even get to violent blows. They're more just like shit talking between two
grown-ups who have no business.
Two grown-ups hopped up on Red Bull and vodka and just
adrenaline.
All that stuff. Toxic masculinity and whatnot.
I just live in that. I just live in it.
Yeah. So okay. Well, let's if you don't mind, I would love for you to explain what happened to you this recent round.
Okay. This recent soccer altercation, I prefer the word altercation over fight, much more grown up version of the word. I was actually I wore my Sunday best. I went there like
Fresh from church.
Good, yes, I was there. I was I behave as a captain even if I'm not wearing a captain's band. I like to assume that role for the teams that I play on.
Do you actually have bands? Do you guys wear the bands?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, you always have a captain who just literally does the coin flip or whatever, but
okay.
Within the team dynamic, you conduct yourself how you're gonna. Some guys are more shy, some are more outspoken, some have more to say at half and the start, and usually I'm fairly vocal and I'm more experienced than some of these guys, and I like to think they value my input.
Okay, now before you continue, just to clear something up. You are in a, would you call it a rec league, or are you guys like semi? I can't remember if you were.
No, we did our semi-pro stint, but at this point it's a rec league in LA. But they have different divisions. There's about 5 of them in the primary league that I play in, and we're in like the second to highest one. The one above it is pretty good level, but the one that we're at it's still solid, but you can still show up hungover and compete.
Now I have a hard time calling it a rec league just because
it is a rec league.
Well, sure, but maybe I don't know much about rec leagues, but it seems like you guys are more serious than a rec. Like you have an actual league, you have a schedule.
Yeah. We got standings, we got the whole thing.
Yeah, standings,
playoffs,
you pay, playoffs, you got referees, and this is where the crux of your altercation comes.
That's where a lot of
play,
them come from.
Is that you actually have these referees, and they take the job of refereeing these games very seriously.
Or not serious enough, depending. Because if they took it serious, they would be better at their jobs, So.
Okay, touche.
The problem is, a lot of the times, a lot of my frustrations, and most players, it's either you're playing like shit and you get frustrated and you're lashing out on either a ref or another player or whatever, or you're playing good or things start snowballing. Like a ref misses a call, and the thing about it is, it comes from a place of wanting to protect your teammates.
Okay.
So you see an egregious foul and you're like, ref, come on, you didn't call that, and that's dangerous, So it'll start there, and then These refs tend to get like a chip on their shoulder as soon as you call them out.
Which is the other problem. They know you guys know each other. You've been in this league for a decade now.
But that's actually the funny thing is most of these refs start out hating me, and eventually, because I'll fuck with them, I joke around with them afterwards, you know.
Okay.
Like, I had one guy, he hated me, and then after like a few seasons, he show up. He's like, you, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have a problem. And he's like, no, we're cool. And then they end up liking me, or at least, surface level. And then the game starts and it gets combative.
Yeah, they remember why they hated you the first few
years.
Yeah.
And then it's over and it's like, okay, we're cool. Okay. So it's always been this like kind of ebb and flow of like the dynamic, because it's a really weird thing. And I think refs at this level, it's like a cop.
Okay.
They do the like classic sort of like grasping for power and trying to assert themselves into a situation when it's not called for.
Sure.
And they're compensating a lot of times.
Caleb, are you anti-cop?
Let's just say I'm not 100% pro-cop.
All right, we should probably circle back to that later on. But okay.
I mean, I think they have a hard job. I think it's a very challenging job. Even the refs, I sympathize with them, because I think the job, you're essentially signing up. If you're doing it all day, you're getting verbally abused by like 22 men plus their subs, 30 plus people yelling at you. Nobody's happy about what you're doing. Even if you rep the job, you do it perfectly, there's still somebody being a prick.
It's like, when you're watching, I mean, we saw, well, I don't know if you followed much of the Super Bowl, like aftermath.
I did hear some of the conversations about that last, what was it, pass interference call?
Yeah, it was basically like, and the arguments were ridiculous. Okay, so I'm sure everyone saw the Super Bowl or what happened, but, the idea is that in the last 2 minutes of a game, you can't call a penalty, which is
that's stupid logic.
God, exactly. It's an honest to God penalty. Even the guy who was called on it was like, I held on this play. But the talking heads were like, well, you can't call that in that situation, meaning you can't let it decide the game in the last 2 minutes. Because they wanted more drama. They wanted the Eagles to go down to score, and then or whatever was going to happen. They wanted it to be more tight.
It just became a pivotal call, even though it is the correct call.
Right.
And people want to complain about that. But that's the thing about sports, is they want to find their like storyline drama moment. Mm-hmm. And that is so dumb. That's not like, stories in sports are great, but how people, like, I watched that game and I'm not a huge football fan, but I could tell, like,
you love Patrick Mahomes though.
I know who Patrick Mahomes is. If anyone doesn't know, Alvin is a massive Chiefs fan.
Huge.
Now you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just like to watch the game and talk shit. I know enough about sports because I've played sports my whole life, and I played a little bit of football, and I get the gist. It's not my sport, but I can appreciate it. And I knew that was a foul. It was an easy call, Yeah.
But in that moment, though.
That to me, like, is there different rules at different times of the game?
Clearly there are.
No, the answer is there's not.
All right, so it's apparently there are rules that are time dependent, but that's a whole different story about the Chiefs.
Wait, that's a real thing?
No, that's just what the talking heads were saying, is that you can't call certain calls at certain time of the game due to their implication on the result of the game. And it's like, well, you can think about it in the sense that, all right, in the last 2 minutes of a football game, obviously what you do right then and there is going to tell the tale. However, there's a whole other 46 minutes or 56 minutes of the game,
right,
in which, all these things could have factored your last 2 minutes of each half or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like that specific call can't be the culmination of the entire game, because everything could have gone differently and that call was inconsequential. But because, like, the storyline moment was there for something dramatic to happen, and it just went in the favor of the team who was about to win, it's like, that's just what happened, like, you don't always get the storybook.
That's true.
I don't know, like, every sport has those moments, and like if you're the losing team, you feel like, wow, that's really shitty for us. But I'm sorry, that's just what happened. You know?
That's a fact. All right, so let's take this back to what happened to you and your situation specifically. All right, so you are in this league. You are a long-standing member of this league and team, and someone that people respect on the field.
I mean, if you played with me, you know, like, I don't know, maybe you respect me, maybe you.
Well, you're an elder statesman, you know. You've been there for a little bit, you know, despite your bad ankle.
Yeah, I got an ankle that's fallen off. Well, okay, to surmise the what happened on Sunday, you know, reputation be damned. This referee is fairly new to the league, and I've seen him around, and he's kind of weird. He's tried to make people forfeit over nothing when, like,
make them forfeit.
The Fridays is a 7v7 league, and they have it in the books that says there's no grace period for starting. Okay. So if your team's not there, and the team says you're forfeiting it, you're forfeiting. Usually there's a grace period. Half the time the refs don't show up until like 2 minutes before kickoff, and then they take time off of our you know, paid for time on the field. So he's just a little weird. Anyways, he got worked up earlier, and some of my players had gotten worked up. And I was, like I said, I was on really good behavior. I've been an asshole out there. I've screamed, I've complained, I've been a smart ass. I've done it all, you know. And most of the cards I've earned to a degree, you know, maybe questionable sometimes. This time, I was telling my players, like, hey, don't scream at the ref, back off, I'll talk to him.
Now, what was going on that was setting them off?
It's just typical stuff, little like 50-50, whatever. Somebody disagrees, they get the foul against them, they think they were fouled. It's always something like that, you know. Okay. And in the moment, it's just like, whatever, walk away, you know. You're not going to change the mind of the referee by screaming at him, you know. It's just not going to happen. And you should have a captain who can speak to the referee without like fear of repercussion. Okay. I wasn't technically the captain on the day. I didn't do the coin flip, but at the same time, the guy who did, he's one of the players that I'm going, hey, calm down, like don't yell at the ref, don't be disrespectful, blah blah blah. First half, he's a ref. Some of these refs will raise the stakes. Mm-hmm. So you'll be like saying something, the ref will turn around and be like, shut up, you don't talk to me. And I'm like, hey, that's unprofessional. That's not how you should do it. You need more emotional intelligence. These players are running on adrenaline. They're not going to have time to eloquently, like, politely express their feelings, you know? So you as a referee shouldn't be ratcheting up the situation and making it more, like, high intensity. And I kind of, like, he had a moment where I was like, ref, like, hey, we don't have to yell at each other. Like, let's be chill. And, like, I just, like, let him know. And we had a good little moment. And it was like, okay, cool, yeah. Sure. First half went off without, like, any event. And then second half, maybe 10-15 minutes in, a few different people. There was like a PK for us potentially. Guy got hacked a bunch. He just didn't fall over, so he didn't get the
PK
call.
PK is short for penalty kick.
Penalty kick.
For those that don't know.
Just in case. And he was frustrated, so I was telling him, hey, chill. Let me talk to him. And then he got fouled again, or he did a foul. And I was like, hey, ref, you know, just so you know, like, he's, you know, that's him feeling frustrated from not getting the call. This is how things get escalated, you know. Right. And I was just kind of in his ear, but not disrespectful, just being like, hey, I'm seeing some hacks over here, like, that looked a lot like the one you just called for them. Only difference is we didn't fall over, and blah, 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 you know. Just being like, hey, come on, can you keep an eye on this? And as a referee, all you have to do is turn around and go, oh, okay, like, what's going on? But these referees, and this guy specifically, was like, either they ignore you, or they just are like, shut up. Uh-huh. Like, I don't want to hear it.
Which makes things much better.
Right. Exactly, and that's my point.
Dealing with a bunch of jacked up, you know, people
like
playing
people in
games.
the moment, and you turn around and tell them to shut up, and it's like, I've had referees that literally have stopped and they go, what are you saying? Okay. Even if they're gonna ignore it and do like, just be like, hey, what's wrong? Oh, okay, don't worry, I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, don't
No.
don't be like, shut up.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
That's their attitude.
Fuck your mother.
And they're just completely unprofessional. And so I didn't raise my voice. I didn't do anything. He just told me, I don't want to hear any more from you. You say another thing, like, that's it. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then he whips out a yellow. Says, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay. Still at that point, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't. The most condescending thing I said was, that's pathetic. Was like, that's pathetic that you need to card me right now.
Oh,
you know?
God, dude.
But
You're going after his like ego when you say that.
But I wasn't even like in his ear. That I was just like, that's pathetic. You know, like it wasn't even hardly directed at him. Maybe he was in earshot. But so not even like 5 minutes later, just I can't help myself. I'm still talking, but I'm not like. I'm just like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you giving me a card for that? That's messed up, dude. Like, come on, let's be more. I've been nothing but nice to you. Like, that's like what I'm saying to him. Like, dude, like, what was that about? Like, come on, we've been cool. I've literally been telling my players to not yell at you. Like, I'm just asking you to keep an eye on things. And I'm chirping, and you know, if I was smart, I would have just shut up and like played my game. But it's hard. I'm in the middle of the field. That's where I play. The ref is always near me. So it's kind of hard not to just be like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, be better.
Give a little nudge. Hey, little chirp.
Yeah. So, and the next thing I know, he's like, one more word. And I was like, what? Like, and then he's like, boom, you're out.
What?
And so he gives me, 2 yellow cards within 5 minutes of each other for nothing. Everyone is confused as fuck at this point because nobody heard me raise my voice.
2 yellow cards equals a red.
Yes, means I'm out for the rest of the game and the next game.
Which is the seriousness of this. Is like, because you play this game, you pay money for it.
Yes.
You do it because you love it, number one. But number two, it's like it's a thing you've purchased with your money.
We're paying them, and they treat us
yeah.
like assholes, which whatever. It's a tough job. But still, like, your objective as a referee shouldn't be to kick people out. It should be to try to keep people in. He should have gone, look, I don't want you to have to leave this game, but look, I'm tired of it. Like, I've heard you. Like, if you're really that fed up, and you don't want to like hear anymore, just have a rational conversation. But they won't do that. They ratchet it up. I've literally had referees being like, do something.
Oh God.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not trying to fight you. I'm not trying
though.
like you're pissing me off. You know, like
I don't know if you think the stripes double as some sort of force field, but it won't protect you from these hands.
The thing is, if you punch a ref, you're probably getting kicked out of the league for like a year.
Man.
I'm like, then I gotta go find another place to play soccer, and like that's so cool. So, but yeah, that was the head and shoulders of the whole experience. And the sad part is like, I'm fucking 37, you know, like for me to take hours out of my day to go play soccer, you know, like I work out during the week to try to maintain this like this ability to play, functioning,
like the ability to get up and move.
Yeah, you know, like I could just fuck off and like not, you know, but you know, I put a lot of mental, physical energy towards it, and then to just have a referee who thinks it's about him, and it's not. It's like, I'm sorry, we paid you. We paid for the league. We pay referees, and then we show up, and this is about us in this moment. And however shitty we are at it, we took our Sunday out, and it's a job for you.
Right.
But don't act like you're so insecure that you got to kick somebody out just because they're questioning you a little bit, you know?
How much do you think these guys get paid?
They get paid pretty good, actually.
The games are hour and a half?
45-minute halves, so 90 minutes total, but there's about 15-minute grace period between, not 15 minutes, maybe 5-10 between the halves.
Okay.
And then we get going, so yeah.
So 2 hours.
Yeah,
And
almost.
you guys pay what, $5 a head?
No, they get paid. I think they get paid. Is it 100 for each team?
Oh shit!
It used to be it was 60 at one point, and now it's like up to it might be 80, some are 100, and sometimes that's one ref gets 100 from each team. Sometimes it's 3 refs who get that split, and the middle ref gets the bigger pot. But these guys will ref.
Best one. He's the top ref.
No, it's just they rotate throughout the day. They'll do like 3 or 4 to like 5 games a day.
Yeah.
They'll make good money.
Wow, I didn't realize it was such a lucrative like thing.
I mean, they walk away with some change in their pocket. You know, I've thought about doing it, but then I'm like, it's fucking miserable.
Oh, well, you have people like you yelling at you.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't blame them for like reaching a breaking point, but if they were better at their job and better at like just had better emotional intelligence and how to handle like players who are out of control, or who are like worked up, you know, instead of just like egging them on, you could take that player and go, look, you're really hot right now. I don't want to send you out, but like I've seen too many dangerous fouls. I've seen too much of this. You're pissing me off with everything you're saying. You've cursed at me. Like, it's fine. If like, you shouldn't be verbally berated, you know. But and you have the right to kick people out. But just as a power move, to just be like, I don't want to hear another word from you, instead of being like, hey man, like, come on, give me a break. Yeah. Like, I'm not calling those fouls. I didn't see them as fouls. All right.
They aren't doing themselves any favor. But that also sounds like a little bit of a power trip, in the sense that they know you can't do anything.
It's absolutely a power trip.
Yeah, because like they can talk that shit, and they know that for you to respond is only detrimental to you.
Exactly. And they want to. They get off on it, you know. And that was the thing. It was like, I mean, the part of the story I left out too is once he gave me the red card, then I went belligerent, fucking ballistic asshole on him, because it's like, you know, I just said, fuck you, he's a short little fat guy. I was like, you know, fuck you, you little insecure piece of shit, you know, like, because at that point it's like, you want to give me a red card, here's red card behavior, you know?
You earned it at that point.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna earn it, you know? But, like, it's not even a chicken and the egg situation. It's like, you know, it's you did this, and now you're getting this. So the only argument they have is like, if they want to ban me for the next game, is like, yeah, but when he left, he fucking cursed everyone out, and like, and it's like, yeah, but I wouldn't have done that if you didn't fucking kick me out of the game for no reason, you know?
Yeah.
So
like, it's not even a chicken or egg thing. It's like, we know which came first.
Yeah.
Which is cool because, you know, maybe I apologize if I'm skipping ahead on your story, but even the other refs were like, yo, this problematic ref, like, we don't know what he's doing.
They didn't call him that, but one of the refs, one of the sideline refs, he came up to me, but like as I was kind of like losing it, and he's like, wait, what's going on? You know, like, why are you getting kicked out? And you know, if I maybe could have kept my rationale in that moment and been calm and been like, dude, I don't fucking know, man, like, blah blah blah. But I was like, this motherfucker is kicking me out. I didn't say shit to him, you know. So at that point, he let me fucking dig my own grave. But he was coming over, like, because he knows me as John, because that's like on the sign-in sheet, it's John.
Oh, okay. Weird.
So like, some of them know I'm Caleb, some of them know me as John. But he's like, John, what's going on? And I was like, you know, and I talked to him
John,
afterwards.
That's so weird to hear.
It's weird, but you know, I don't know. It's like an alias I don't really use, but some people know me as. Like, if I go to the doctor, they're like, John,
so
and I'm
weird.
like, yep.
It's so weird, because like I look at you, you look like a Caleb, then like, no, you're actually a John.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, it's a weird thing. Yeah, like, I identify as Caleb, but I know it's like officially it's John.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
You know, that's for the new members to our audience.
Yeah.
It's found out.
I'm gonna make your lower third John. What happens? That's matter.
Ow. But yeah, it was a shit show. It was a hell of an experience.
Well, Hopefully we'll have more of those stories in the future of you fighting and...
I try to like rectify it. You know, this is how my brain works though. Like after an experience like that, I just sit there and I ruminate on it. I sit there. If I'm in the car by myself, I'm just like, words are coming out. I'm not talking to anybody but this ref.
Yeah.
About like it's either next time I see him or shit I wish I would have said to him. I'm just sitting there.
We all
like,
have that.
Yeah, but it's like that for like 3 days at least. Just
Oh,
like,
man.
look at this, I'm fucking you little bitch, you know.
That's so crazy because we all have that moment where we're just like, oh man, if I would have said this in that moment, I would have like annihilated this motherfucker, you know? And like,
I do that, but I'm thinking about the next time I see him because I'm gonna see him again.
okay, yeah.
And I'm just, you know, I can't wait to go up to him and be like, hey, you really shouldn't have kicked me out of that game, man. That was pretty fucked up, huh?
Now, is that going to be helpful or hurtful towards you? Like, okay, it's helpful towards your psyche, but hurtful towards your soccer playing.
It's gonna be both. This is how I win him over eventually, you know?
All right.
It's gonna be good for me, and I'm gonna do it with a little bit of like a smile on my face and be like,
It's hiding seething rage.
Yeah,
What's that
like-
meme of like the smile like behind it, just like tears or rage or whatever?
oh yeah. I mean, at that point, I'm not gonna be mad, but it's gonna be vindictive.
Yeah.
But it's also gonna be like, yeah, buddy. Because I can't go in if he's my ref in the next game and be like, hey, motherfucker, like, because he's just gonna come in there and be like just as vindictive and try to
Instant
kick
yellow
me out
card.
again. And I've had refs do that, but it's just gonna be like, oh hey, yeah,
You're that guy.
yeah, I remember you. You kicked me out of that game for no reason.
John.
You kicked me out for no reason. That was weird.
Uh-huh,
I was being really nice to
Yeah.
you, and just like, and I've seen one of the linesmen's twice that was at that game. He reffed our Friday game and he reffed the Tuesday game, and I was joking around with him. And
Yeah.
he's been coming, and usually he just is stone faced, doesn't talk, and he's like smiling and laughing and joking about it with me because I was just
Nice.
like. I was like, bro, your boy did me dirty on Sunday. And then,
Yeah.
like, this other ref who I kind of know, he's like, wait, what happened? And I was just like, dude, he kicked me out for no reason. Like, I literally was the nicest I've ever been out here. And I'm like, you guys
That's a low
know
bar,
me.
by the way. That's a
yeah,
low bar.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you guys know me. I'm a dickhead out here, like, all the time. And this guy was just like, get out of here. And I'm like, what did I do?
Uh-huh.
You know? And I explained it to him, and then he was coming up to me, like, both of them were like cracking jokes at half with me about it, and I was just like, yeah, I know, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's shared experience. Eventually, you get to a point of understanding, but
Sure.
it's also I do think there's a weird racial component out here.
Oh, what? Okay.
Well, it's Southern California, and you know, I play with like international collective of soccer players. You know,
Sure.
LA gets migratorial people.
Right.
And
So
then-
your league is like, there are people who have either been in some sort of professional type of atmosphere or
Very
or semi-pro or
Yeah.
but they like, I mean, there's some people there are pretty legit.
Oh yeah, there's good players.
D1 soccer players.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fairly high level. I mean, we're in a metropolitan area. You know, you get good players.
Mhm.
You know, it's about, okay, in American terms, there's like, because there's like MLS, which
Sure.
is like in world terms, like it's a pretty low rung league. You know.
Yeah.
There's MLS2, which is like those club teams, which is recently established. People don't know about that
I don't
shit.
know about that.
But like most of these teams have a second division. Then there's like USL, UPSL. I played in the UPSL.
Okay.
And then there's like varying degrees of rec leagues out here. And then they're all kind of like, some of those guys have played in UPSL. Some of them have played like club ball overseas or like whatever, you know. But at where I'm at my age, it's comfortable. It's not overly challenging, but it's still fun. you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, you get some young bucks out there that can move around that field. So.
I did my thing back in the day.
So you are done for next week. Is that what it, like, you're suspended for this next game?
Unless we can, you know, sort
appeal
of
it?
appeal it, yeah. But no, like what I was saying though, there is a slight racial component to it.
Yes, let's hear about your race card?
Look, I don't like to play it in terms of like when we're out there because
You don't get to play it very often in your life, so let's.
No, and hold that thought like while I grab a drink. But okay, so Southern California, there'll be like all Latin Hispanic teams.
Okay.
Like where everyone on that team is pretty much Hispanic. The referees are largely Hispanic and Latin, and like that's fine. We've got like Latin and Hispanic guys on our team, but we're kind of a mixed bag, you know. So we've got like, you know, like maybe half the team can speak Spanish, maybe less.
Okay.
But me, looking the way I look, and being like a bald white guy, and looking aggressive or whatever, however people want to take that first impression in.
Bald white guy is code for skinhead, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, to people who don't know me, like maybe that's how they take me in. I don't fucking know, you know, like, and I don't mean to project that, but this is what God's given me at this point, you know.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And the only look you can really do is shave it down.
The racist look.
You know, it's unfortunate. And I think in the sun and just the tattoos and everything, but it's not just me. Like, I'm not the one usually crying the fucking like the other racist, but there is times where the other team is joking around in Spanish and with the ref, and like we're just not getting any calls, and it kind of happens in a way that's like, this does feel a little biased.
Really?
You know?
Whoa.
And again, like, I'm not usually the first one like out there being like, this is fucking racist bullshit.
Yeah.
But I've got guys on the team that are consistently being like, this is racist. And then like the Latin guys and the Spanish guys on the team are like, yeah, they're being a little fucking racist right now.
They said that.
Yeah, I mean, they'll call it out too. And I'm usually just like, whatever. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're going to be a dickhead ref, you're going to be a dickhead ref. You know, like,
Okay.
if you're gonna, if you have biases, you have biases, and I'm more just worried. Like, that's not how I factor it, typically.
Okay, but you're saying there is a certain amount of, if you have a team that's 50% Hispanic versus a team that's 90% to 100,
Yeah.
these refs are gonna. That's the implication you're saying, right?
I'm not saying that it's factual
Okay.
or correct. I'm saying a lot of guys out on the pitch do call it that way. And
Pitch is
again,
field for us Americans.
well, look, are white people the only people who are capable of being racist? I don't think so.
Yeah, of course
but,
not. Of course not.
Like, white people have just been the best at perpetuating like racist.
You're really good at it.
racism,
Like, you're really good.
just because of being in a position of power and, you know, colonization, you
Yeah.
know, all that shit. So like, you know, if they have some resentment, like, I'm like, yeah, I get it, you know, but like, I'm like, let the person speak for themselves, you know, at the end of the day, you know, like, but that is an unfortunate reality at times.
Okay.
Anyways, enough of soccer.
Okay.
Soccer-centric conversation. I could talk about it all night, but
Don't worry. We'll have other opportunities for you to talk about soccer. I mean, it sucks that we missed the launching of this podcast after the World Cup, because I'm sure you know, you could have given some pretty insightful.
I don't know about that.
Okay, well, you could have talked about it.
I could have said some shit about it.
You could have, you know, said something on, you know, in camera, and you know,
Yeah.
could have educated people. You know, I was thinking about how last time we were, you know, I mentioned that, you know, we'd be talking about like sports and video games and politics and things of that nature, but we're kind of in a dark zone on the sports stuff between the two of us, in the sense that football season's over, which is the only sport I really care about, specifically the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And even though soccer is perpetual, like, you don't really have a team you follow.
No, I've been following Man City lately.
That's your team now.
I mean, yeah, I guess. The problem with Man City and coming late to the party and like picking them is Man City is like the Patriots.
Not Manchester United.
No, Manchester United's garbage.
They were good.
They were great back in the day. They're getting better. Ten Hag is their new coach, and he's been, he's some. He came from Ajax, which Ajax is sort of like a feeder team over in. Where are they? Fucking Amsterdam? I don't know. But they develop a lot of youth, and he's kind of gotten a reputation, and just Man United's gone through ever since Alex Ferguson left, just like turmoil. Yeah, it's been like 10 years since he left, and they just haven't been able to get shit together. But Alex Ferguson was like one of the most winningest coaches, if not the winningest, on record. And they were just like the team, you know?
Okay.
Like, I think most people in America, like Man U or Arsenal, are probably like the first teams. If you weren't like in soccer and you eventually like started learning about European soccer, I think that's probably the like gateway teams for most people.
Okay.
I don't know. That's just like my thought.
So you feel like you're coming in as sort of a maybe even bandwagon, in the sense that they're already kind of doing their thing.
They've been winning. They have one of the best coaches, arguably, of this generation. They have a shit ton of money.
There's no cap. Oh wait, there is a cap in specific leagues, and you tried to explain this to me where there's.
I don't even
leagues,
understand it. Okay, like
this is what I don't like. It's like it seems like the rich teams get richer.
They do, and they've gotten like recently in trouble for what sounds like kind of cooking the books, because I think there is some sort of like spending like limit or whatever, and they just do weird loopholes because there's transfer windows like when they can do this, but they can move the money around in really weird ways depending on the league.
Okay.
But Man City's just gotten a lot of trouble for, and this was like a month and a half ago, and now people aren't talking about it. But the reason I like them and started liking them, and it wasn't like intentional. I like De Bruyne, who's like one of the best passers of the ball like in the game.
All right.
And he was the one that I initially started just like, man, that guy's fucking sick, I like to pass the ball. That's my game more than anything else. Is like
very messy like that.
No, Messi's like a dribbler, goal scorer, like phenom. I'm not fucking Messi. I'm slow and have a bad ankle.
I'm just throwing out names that I
could
pick out.
Fair enough.
I only know like a handful.
Yeah, and so they picked up Haaland, who's one of the most exciting strikers. He's just a huge monster of a individual, and I'm like, I want to see what they're doing. And so they're the team I consistently kept being like, I want to see their highlights. And I wouldn't say I'm a fan, because like I can't get on board with fandom because it's too much energy.
No, man.
I go through that through the teams I play on.
Okay, all right.
Like I put so much effort into that to like be emotionally invested into a team, to have like my whole thing. Like I tried to get on LAFC, and I'm like, still like, they're my MLS team.
Sure,
I'm gonna root for them.
Gotta do it.
But I'm not gonna watch every single game. I'll catch some highlights.
You gotta watch. Well, we'll go to more. That one we went to was pretty epic.
It was a good game.
But yeah, it's like, this is something I vehemently disagree with you on, is in the sense that the ups and downs of following the team are, I don't know if they're unmatched with being on the team. Like that was what you're saying, but as a long-suffering Chiefs fan, and to see where they're at now.
Well, you put in the work. I mean, you've been loving them since they were shit,
Yeah.
So now you're finally getting to reap the rewards of your dedication.
Man, it just feels good. It feels so good.
But look, and I'm not like arguing like that, like, oh, the way I do it is right. I'm saying it's right for me because
I'm saying it's wrong.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, and this is why, like, when people ask me like who's my team, I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like Man City. They're kind of cool. But I've always liked sports.
Okay.
But I didn't, like, we had the Cardinals, and I was into them when I was young, but then I just, like, fell out of love with baseball because it's fucking boring.
Yeah, baseball sucks.
Sorry.
That's the
Dad.
problem with our dark spots. Like, baseball's starting up,
I'm not in a dark
think
spot.
basketball,
Premier
too.
League's going strong,
Oh,
and
that's
I've been
true, yeah.
watching it every chance I can. Like soccer never stops. It really doesn't. There's always
Yeah.
something going on.
Something going on, something
Yeah.
cares about, presumably.
Yeah, but then sometimes I put on, look, I can't even hardly watch a full game a lot of times. I put on a fucking 90-minute game, and I love the sport, and sometimes I'm just like, this fucking sucks. This is garbage, you know? Like, this is so fucking stupid. Like, and it'll be teams I like. I'll be like, this is a terrible game. Sometimes soccer's just like that. It's just like, they're shitty games.
Yeah.
That's why, like, as long as I've known you, how many games have you come to of mine?
2 or 3.
Right. That's like a 15, 20 year, 30 year friendship here.
No, you've only been doing 10 years. But, yeah, it's like... But that's not the same as...
But my point is, like, I don't be like, hey, Alvin, come to my games. And it's not like I'm inviting you all the time and you're rejecting because you're not a shitty friend. It's like, I don't invite you unless it's like, oh, we're winning, we got a championship. Like, you guys should really come. I think maybe I did that once or twice. And because I'm just like, you guys don't, like, it's not your sport. You're not going to get a lot out of it besides just, like, whatever. So I'm just like, don't come. Like, you're not going to enjoy it. It's not like you're going to have a good time unless you're just, like, being outside and, like...
Well, if there's a big enough group, you know, it's fine to be out there, kind of... See, the thing is, like, we wouldn't go out there and be, like, fans.
Right.
You know, like, you're, like, out there, and maybe there's 1 or 2 other people that we know, and we're like, oh, cool, you know, such and such is out there playing as well. But we'd be out there probably drinking and talking shit, and then afterwards go to a bar.
That's fine. I mean, that's great, you know, but that's not my point. You know, like, the point is, like, soccer and, like, any sport, like, but soccer, because there's so much of it and because of the way it is, if you're not a fan, you're not going to get a lot out of it. You know, you guys are going to get your friendship and, like, have a good time and whatever, like, no matter what. But, like, I don't subject people to it, and I get the fact, like, when people don't really like the sport, because I don't even like watching it sometimes. But I love the fucking sport. I love playing it. I love doing it. It's a weird dichotomy, and I'm just like a weird sports person in that way. Like, I love basketball highlights. I like baseball highlights too.
I mean, highlights are, you know, they do what they are supposed to do, which is to, like, show you the best parts of.
You know, those people who act like they can't understand sports at all.
Yeah. People are just like, oh, you guys are just, like, cheering for this person because they chased a ball, like.
Yeah, and it's like, look, sports are silly. If you really break it down, it's a fucking game, you know?
Right.
But there's story, there's drama. You just have to know where to find it. And, like, these people dedicate their entire lives just because they're just playing a game. I mean, it doesn't make them stupid. It means, like, they've sacrificed a lot to get to where they are, you know?
Well, sure, but it's one thing to call it a game, in which it is, but it's calling it that, it ignores the fact that these people aren't just playing a game. They are the top elite physical specimens at any given, like, you know, that are suited to their sport, but just in general too, like strength, speed, agility.
It's
like,
crazy.
All this stuff, and you're not just watching a sport; you're watching a human being perform at its, like, peak potential.
Right.
You know, and sure, people can get out of control. I think they get turned off with the super fans who get out of
the fandom.
Nuts. Okay, but at the same time, like, you should be watching these people do, like, their thing. It's a game, but it's also there's millions of dollars floating around this thing.
Yeah, and it's absurd in so many, but it's also like, hey man, that's making the economy move. It's something, you know.
That too. See, entertainment. It's like, you know, there's people who, like, don't understand sports, but they understand movies. It's like, well, like, they both are entertainment.
Yeah, and there's stories. There's always storylines, and there's characters, and there's, like, things that are happening. Sports are dynamic, and it's kind of a thing on a loop, but, like, everything is, you know, like, every story's kind of been told. You're just mixing the ingredients a little differently to tell your story. But oh god, I had a point that I completely eluded me at this. Oh, it was like, have you ever watched the Olympics?
Have I ever watched? Yes.
No. Okay, yeah, you didn't have to be a smartass about it. I'm setting something up.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, when the Olympics happen, because they kind of have to pick up, like, no one's following it. There's no season.
Okay.
So like, when you watch the Olympics, they always have these, like, athlete breakdowns,
Yeah. Like they
where-
do like a profile of an athlete.
Yeah,
Okay,
they did this massive profile, and they'd be like, and after his, both of his parents died in a tragic skydiving accident. And like, they get you with all this drama, and they give you like the entire like figure skaters backstory, and like tell you all these things. They do this whole like in like a 2020 style like breakdown of the athlete, and it's just like, I don't even give a shit about the Olympics. I've watched some of those and been on the verge of tears.
Oh man,
being like, oh my god, holy shit.
This person came all the way from Saskatchewan, and are here like representing their country and like and then like doing the thing, and I can totally see how
like after all of his family died in this war that you've never heard about.
Exactly, the whole genocide going on.
He immigrated.
This person's
to
the
this
last of their
country.
kind, actually, and they're here like running the 4x4 relay.
Initially wasn't born here, like dealt with all this racism towards it's like, it's crazy shit, but that's like sports, and like, there's always shit like that. You don't know what like made these, and sports have had massive influence in history throughout the ages, and like they've used sports to like win wars or end wars and like shit like that. It's really fucking wild. So when people are out there being like sports ball, and it's like, come on,
right,
it's a little bit more than that.
I mean, even then, it's sports, like, it's, if there's a war going on or wanting to stop, it's the Olympics specifically, it's a moment where all nations can kind of put their stuff aside and just be like, listen, let's just come together, we'll do this thing, and
I mean, it was when, like, that was the only thing, but now, like, the Olympics is kind of like fifth tier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happens to the Olympics.
It's just dumb sports. Like, the actual events are kind of like, look, I mean, somebody doing
pole vaulting.
That's wow. I can't do that. That's awesome. 5-minute warning.
Yeah. Well, damn. I wish we didn't have difficulties earlier. We could have elaborated a long time on sports and all that jazz, but this will be a shorter one-off going on.
I think we still got a pretty good amount. What do we got here?
30 minutes, 40 minutes.
This says 50.
What?
50.
Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay.
Nobody asked for this.
No one. Till next time.
Yeah.
Bye.